Throwing back an old school setup today. You can see I got the 30-inch mower in the back here with the ramps. My battery-powered blower and my battery-powered trimmer and edger are in the back. Because they're combis, I can separate them. Days like today got me pondering retirement. I'm not thinking what you think I might be thinking when I say that now. Not retirement for me, but retirement for Big Red. The literal Big Red, aka the Chevy. Now, it's not uncommon year in and year out to have, problems happen, equipments break and things break on the trucks and everything. I do repairs on both trucks every year. So it's no different than that in that aspect. But the other day, actually it was yesterday, AC went out in the Chevy. And kind of a big deal because, it's hot right now. This is the hottest day of the year was yesterday, and 106 degrees. And, you need to have AC if you're out working, especially in the afternoons in that condition. But even more to the point is the way that this AC went out. It didn't just stop working and everything fine. It stopped working, and I started to hear, it stopped cooling, and I started to hear this like a noise under the hood, and I started to, like, the engine started to lack power, like the AC was still running even when it's not. That is not a good sign. That tells me that the bearings in that compressor pulley are about to seize up, and if that happens, my hand will be forced, meaning I'll either have to do one of two things. I'll have to bite the bullet and replace that compressor, and depending on, a lot of shops these days don't want to take on just one part of an AC system. They want to replace all the components, especially on a 37-year-old truck, almost 37-year-old truck. And what that's going to entail is a large expense, $1,200, $1,500 or more. And the other what course I could take is just yank that compressor off of there and convert it to get a free spinning pulley, like an AC delete pulley, and just delete the whole compressor and delete the whole thing. But then I don't have AC. And I won't lie, I like having AC, especially when I'm working in the heat. And that's the problem. One of the problems you'll run into with old trucks, old equipment. Things break. And they may not be terribly cheap to fix, terribly easy to fix. Or, depending on how old you're running, you may not have any support. I remember back in, I think it was 2012, something like that, 2013. I had an old 84 Oldsmobile Delta 88. And it was the second one of two that I'd owned in my life at the time. And it was having some problems. I was thinking I might have to get a carburetor rebuilt because it was a 307 with a 4-barrel carburetor on it. And I went up to my shop and, talked to them, and they told me no. They Liam Shaw'd me, in effect. And what they told me was, they're mechanic guys, and they were old, seasoned mechanics. They told me, basically, as old as that vehicle is, we don't want to take responsibility for something else, going on in that job. We don't do that job every day. Basically, they told me no one works on carburetors anymore. No one rebuilds carburetors. Now, this is 2013. Here we are in 2024. This is 11 years later. That's 11 more years on this truck. Yeah, I know it doesn't have a carburetor. It's fuel injection, but it's a very simple fuel injection. And You know, it's still got 37-year-old wiring and 37-year-old lines and 37-year-old fittings. And just, there's so much that can go wrong. There's so much you get into, something strips out, something breaks off, and then you're in it for a week or several days or however long. And not to mention, I'm still, you know, I'm working my mowing route every day. I don't have time to sit here and tear this thing apart like I did when I was in my 20s. I've owned that truck since 2008. I mean, it's my longest owned vehicle. I've owned it 15 years almost. And I mean, do I want to stop using it? No, absolutely not. Do I want to move on and get another work truck? To be honest, I kind of do. I've thought about it a lot, especially lately, even before this happened. But that doesn't mean I want to just throw Big Red, the original Big Red, off like she's nothing, because she's been my anchor for this business ever since I got it off the ground. Big Red has anchored this business. The Ram I'm in, of course, is my nice truck. It's a good truck, you know. I've still got my trailer, so if, you know, worst case scenario, if I can't drive it for a while, I'm going to go get the trailer and keep it in the garage similar to like I did in 2022 when I had the hernia. I was driving around with the trailer. Like I said, I'd rather not do that, but it may have to happen. And depending on what I get told on costs of this job, this repair job, this may be Big Red's final season working here. I may retire Big Red permanently, or I might even get rid of it. I don't know. I'm really on the fence here, and I don't know. I don't quite have a replacement vehicle lined up yet either. Let me take this out a little bit, show you all the view from the road here. I'm at Rosemead Parkway, going to my second job for the day. I got a little bit of a late start today, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have a line yet on another work truck. I'm kind of thinking Toyota Tundra, but we'll see. I'm kind of thinking get a little bit newer of a vehicle and maybe finance it. I don't know. I could cash buy one. We'll see. Just kind of depends on what I find. I'd prefer one to be red. Red is my color. Even if it's dark red like the Ram here, it'll be fine. But another thing this event has done is just kind of give me time to think about my story and my truck story, and we might tell that story here soon too, the Big Red story. We're definitely going to tell it if we end up retiring it. That'll be a video that we do in the future. But yeah, keep in mind with your work trucks, you know, the older your work truck is, the more problems you could have with it, the more issues you're going to face. This is the first major problem that the Chevy has had in a long time, though. So this truck has been solid ever since, I guess, 2013. 2013, I spent a lot of money on it. I had the transmission rebuilt, and I had the part of the front end redone. Between 2009, 2010, and 2013, I spent a lot of money on that truck, whereas I had fuel pump replaced, ignition system distributor replaced. I had the front end redone. The whole front end was redone in 2 different phases. It probably needs it again, but what are you gonna do? It's not the right time for that right now. I did the brakes. I did the brakes myself, but I still did that. Transmission was rebuilt. I had some column work for the multifunction switch and that sort of thing, and I had that replaced. So yeah, I've married it several times, so to speak, and I don't think I want to marry it again. Especially if they're going to tell me, you know, if it needs a job that's going to be $1,500, $2,000, something like that for a air conditioning system. So, but I'm rambling on. I'm repeating myself. This is pretty much what I wanted to talk about today, was just be cognizant of your work trucks, you know, and don't ignore maintenance on them. And if your vehicle is old, like mine is, almost approaching 40 years old, keep in mind you may be faced with such a decision like this in the future. And especially in my sense, when this isn't just a cash truck that I've bought last year. This is a truck I've owned for almost 15 years, and I have a lot of sentimental value in this truck. And I'll go into more of that when I talk about the detailed story of the truck, my story with it. But it's got a lot of sentimental value, and I don't really want to let it go. But I may not have a choice. Well, that's my talk for this week. Hopefully the next update will be a little more positive. Stay cool out there and have a good one.